Hey, Captain Chris Myers, Central Florida Sight Fishing Charters. And one of the common casting errors that I see quite frequently is what's known as forward creep. Now, if we go back to our casting principles, we know that we must make a stop and allow that line to unroll. So there's a pause between each stroke as that line unrolls. In a perfect world, what we'd like to have happen is that rod stop and stay in that position, so that when as we come forward, if it was the backstroke, as we come forward, we have a full stroke to work with. When we start creeping, what happens is we make our backstop, and as that line is still unrolling going that way, the hand starts creeping in anticipation of the forward stroke. So now when the line unrolls and you really speed up, you're already a third, halfway through your stroke, and your rod doesn't start bending sometimes until it's past your head. Now if I stop back here and wait and that line straightens out, right as I come forward, the rod's bending, the rod's working to help me, and I'm getting a whole range of motion. So if I come back, stop, 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 and pause and allow that to unroll instead of stop and come up and creep forward. Some people do creep, they move the whole time, they stop and they'll constantly creep up and then speed up when they see the line straighten up. Others will stop, reposition the rod, and then make a shorter stroke. Well, that shorter stroke forces you to have to use more power. Because if my stroke is shorter, I gotta compensate by doing it harder. When we do it harder, it causes the tip to overbend, and you're gonna get that closed or tailing loop. If you're not familiar with a tailing loop, look at my video on wind knots, and you'll see what a closed or tailing loop is. It's what makes the knots in the end of your line. It causes your fly to catch on your fly line or your leader, and everything falls in a pile right when you wanted it to go out to that big group of fish. So I'm going to show you what forward creep looks like. First we'll show what a proper cast looks like, and then I'll show you what some forward creep looks like, and you can see how the rod does not start to bend until well through my stroke, and how I've wasted a lot of that stroke. So if you think of golf or baseball, instead of you starting from way back here to hit it out in the outfield, if this is my bat, I'm going to hit a home run. I want to start back here. I don't want to start out over the plate and have to try to make a real short stroke with a lot of power. That's what you're doing to yourself when you have forward creep. And a lot of times you don't know you're doing it unless you have an instructor watch you, someone that knows what they're doing, or you videotape yourself. So if you only work with yourself, see if you can get a video camera set up, watch yourself, and see if this is happening to you, and it might explain why you're getting those closed or tailing loops on your last stroke. First we're going to start out with a proper fly stroke. You watch that rod will stop as the line unrolls behind me, and I'll have a full range of motion through my forward stroke. So I get up in the air, I stop, and that line is stopped. I'm waiting for that line to unroll behind me, and when you're first starting out, you need to watch behind you. Otherwise, you won't have any idea when it's unrolled. Every time you're practicing, I encourage you to turn around and look at what's going on behind you. That way you're practicing your back cast as well, because if you never look behind you, you don't know what's going on back here. So how can you be practicing making a good back cast if you don't see if it's good? So here's what it looks like when we get some forward creep involved. First, I'm going to creep all the way through. We'll make a couple good strokes so you can quickly compare them. Here's a couple proper strokes. Now I'm going to start creeping. see in that stroke, my speed and acceleration didn't start till I was way up here. I stopped as the line was still unrolling. I was creeping forward, and then I had to really snatch it out hard at the end. Now here's another example of a type of creep, but it's a repositioning of the rod. So you stop, move it up to another spot, stop, but that second spot is almost always into your stroke, and it decreases your stroke length. So here's a couple proper strokes, and then I'm going to creep. See, we slow that down. When we slow that down, you'll see that the rod stops here, comes up and stops here, but then I've just lost 3 or 4 feet of my casting stroke. And I need all of my casting stroke to help me not only make a nice tight loop, a good presentation, but to be able to get that distance I want without having to add extra power. The extra power, I'm going to end up with that closed retaining loop. If you're not familiar with that looks like. You see where the bottom of the fly is below the rod leg. And a lot of times it ties a perfect overhand knot in your line. So, work on watching your back cast, making sure you're sticking that back cast and not creeping forward, and that might explain some of the problems you're getting.